Hello guys, si Sean Velosa ulit ito at welcome sa episode 59 ng larutan ng Baldur's Gate 3 single player campaign. So game, continue natin yung adventure natin. Last episode guys, nagkaroon ng intimate moment si Astarion tsaka yung main character natin. Tapos pwede na natin ituloy yung adventure natin. Pero bago tayo lumibot ulit, subukan man natin kung meron pa tayong mga pwedeng makulimbat dito sa may grove. Kung meron pa tayong items na pwedeng kunin na hindi tayo mapapagalitan. Kasi may mga items pa dito eh. Hindi lang natin kinuha dahil baka mamaya may magalit eh. Tignan natin yan kung pwede na. Tapos doon forward na tayo. Okay, sige. Obviously, hindi natin pwedeng pakialaman yung gamit niya. Tayo sa map. May mga tao ba sa palibot? Mukhang wala naman. Ay, ano yung entrance? May daan doon? Saan yun? Saan banda yun? Dito? Ito ba yun? Ayun, may daan nga dito. Paano tayo akit dun? Pwede pa tayo tumalon? Hindi eh. Paano makakakyat dun? Backstreak malamang.
Indolence breeds madness.
Ikaw, subukan mo nga tumalon dun. Ikaw mataas ang talon eh. Ayun o, kaya mo. Ano yan? Hand drum? Send to camp. Ng items.
Quickly then.
Saan tayo? May hagdan dito. May akyatan dito. Teka. Nasa Risen Road tayo? Paano tayo nakarating dito? May treasure chest dun. May bronze goblet. Okay. Something to sell. Oo nga no. Risen Road to Galing May daan pala dun. Hindi ko alam yun Hindi ko napapansin yun nun na may daan pala rito. Hindi ko alam na may daan pala dun.
Maybe later.
May guardian statue dito Ang ganda ng waterfall Ayun kaya yung sinasabi ni... Tag dito? Ni... Waterfall. Sinabi ni... Saza. Forest.
Smell that. Fresh forest air.
I smell only fear. The fear of cowards lying in wait for an ambush.
Saan?
You can take a day off once in a while, Lae'zel.
I do not take days off. I'd even forego sleep if such a thing were feasible. The one advantage an elf holds over a Githyanki.
Ano siya? May kalaban dito somewhere? Saan napunta? Umikot lang tayo. Okay. Umikot lang doon. Okay, fine. Hindi ko alam na may daan dito Okay, balikan natin mga kasama natin. Ba't nakaakyat ka dyan tapos hindi ko makababa? Hindi ko makababa na walang damage. Kalokohan yun Ito. Ouch.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have. At the ready.
Karnak.
Oh, I could go for a good meal.
Ba't di ka tumalon? Ouch.
Have a lot on my mind. And, well, in it. Should mind my step.
Check natin mga items na pwede nating makulimbat pa. Wala bang pantay na? Talagang wala na ba? Apparently wala na nga. Tignan natin lahat ng pwede. Yung mga iniwan natin na hindi pwede noon. Wala na yan. Dito ano. Wala namang pantay na yata. Wala na nga. Pwede na. Pwede na rin siguro yan. Wala naman laman. Ay, teka. Dali Teka lang natin mga tas. Dali.
Open up.
Wala din. Ayun. Kunin ko na lang lahat. Tapos benta natin kay ano ulit. Okay, balikan natin yung cave ni, yung ano, yung tambayan ng mga pasaway na bata. Broken loot.
Always room for more.
Mole? Anong mole? Ah, hole. Basa ko mole. Bentables. Kahit pa paano bentables. Doon sa loob nung ano, nung yung ah, kung nasan yung mga ano, kung yung mga druids di tayo papasok doon. Okay, dito. May mga tao pa ba? May mga, dito pa ba yung mga bata? Wala na siguro. Wala na. Ang tanong, may mga goods pa ba dito?
Pick the whole grove clean.
Tao? Ano nagsasalita? Ayun, meron. Tao nga ba yun? Ah, si Findal. Ah, hindi tayo pwede makialam. Andiyan si Findal pala eh.
Peace is returning to the grove. We have you to thank for that.
Okay, saan din natin pwede kunin itong mga to? Hindi pwede. Andiyan si Findal eh. Ah, ito siguro pwede. Hindi na siguro makikita yan na. Hindi nga. Tsaka walang laman. Okay. Exit na. Wala pala. Kala ko may mapapakinabangan tayo dito. Ayun. Okay, ibang part naman. Ayun, sa ibang area sa baba. Diyan wala tayong makukuha dyan. Nakulimpatan natin yan eh. Dito. Ah, ito. Yung anong binapantayan nila dito. Weapons lang. Ayun. Nakuha yata ako dito eh. May iniwan ka bang items dito? Long sword? Mace, short sword.
Looks empty.
Ito, tools. Importante yan. Kailangan ko ilagay sa bag ko yun. Uy! Uy, may mga rare pala ako nakuha dito, no? Asaway. Yeah, open ko na. Ito. Breastplate plus 1. Medium armor. Hardily constructed boots. Ang function yata ito, tinga. Sino ba pwede natin bigyan ng equipment? Lahat meron naman eh. Teka. Lazel.
Indolence breeds madness.
14. Armor class. 18. Ay, mas maganda may ambusher eh. Kailangan mo yun eh. Send ko na lang sa camp. Okay, dito naman tayo sa area na to. Ay, backpack pick up. Nag-ipot tayo ng backpacks.
All right, what now? Moving in.
Punta tayo sa taas dito. Wala. Bentables. Crossbow? Ah, heavy crossbow.
Maybe I need more pockets.
Traveler's Guide to the Sword Coast Volume 2. Ay, Volume 9. Inns and guest ano yun? Guest houses. With the dust of their journey still clinging to boot and cloak, the canny traveler will no doubt seek to secure accommodations within the city post haste. Below are some establishments that are typical of what the city has to offer. The Blade and Stars, easily identified by its sign, a wooden shield boasting a curved blade against a field of stars. Unwritten scroll in the margins notes that the sign is currently not in place. This inn is comfortable, quiet and highly recommended for travelers seeking to recuperate from their journey. Expect unassuming fare at a reasonable price, moderately clean rooms, and passable clean patrons. The Blushing Mermaid. Ano mga inns na yung mga inns sa Baldur's Gate. For those seeking an altogether rowdier night in the city, The Blushing Mermaid should be the first port of call. Named for the life-size wooden mermaid on display, this inn is known for its ill-reputed patrons, frequent brawls, and altogether unsavory reputation. Nevertheless, I feature it here owing to the great interest from my readership. I can only advise that you exercise extreme vigilance should you choose this establishment. Elfsong Tavern. Most of this passage is illegible due to water damage, apart from the words and phrases nearest the inner margins. Dimly lit. Proprietor Alan. Disembodied elvish singing voice. May copy na tayo nitong book na to. Hindi ko na kailangan i-send to camp. Adventurous chest.
No traps, please.
At least matinong karot. Kala ko bulok na naman eh. Lockpick.
With a flick of the wrist.
10. Lagay na rin tayo ng additional bonus to. $20. The True Impossible Adventures of Tenebra Morrow, Volume 3. A Pleasurable Deal. The Shocking Truth. Okay, take all. Below is a transcript of an interview with the writer and director of A Pleasurable Deal, Mr. Kingsley Harp. Ito yung ano? Yung ano? Yung plain ano? The True and Impossible Adventures of Tenebro Morrow, Volume 3. An excerpt from The True and Impossible Adventures of Tenebro Morrow, a pulp serial following the real-life exploits of an interplanar ship's captain. The real Captain Morrow is known never to have left his native Waterdeep, and emerges from her room at the yawning portal only to exchange scrawled manuscripts for fresh meals and ink. Much is made of Barovia's gloomy climate. It is said that the mists there confuse the mind and torment the soul, binding travelers in a grip of such despair that escape is impossible to contemplate. As the new bride parted that heavy fog, I confess that I felt no such malaise beyond the onset of a rather stuffy nose. The same, I fear, could not be said of my crew. Among those who had not already cast themselves overboard, the gibbering and weeping became such that I was forced to bind them to the mast entirely, entire, and navigate my fair bride alone. I went in search of that plane's dark master, having been informed that even my ship could not hope to breach the planar boundaries without permission. And so I probed the mists, defiant at the helm and belting out a lively shanty of my own composition. The invitation did not long go unanswered. He appeared like the passing of a shadow overhead, sudden and terrifying, or certainly that was his intention. But once the mutual assurances of destruction were dispensed with, we found in one another kindred spirits, and fell to conversing in earnest. At length, a price for my passage was agreed. Of that price and that man, I will say only this: he is surprisingly excellent company, given the stories, and the teeth do not get in the way nearly so much as one would think. Okay, so wala tayong copy niyan. Send to camp. Okay. Na tayo makita eh. Dito sa taas. The Realm according to Pampo. Parang may kopya na ako nito. The True Impossible Adventures of Volume 2. Wala tayong Volume 2 kay Reed. Volume 2 Reed. An excerpt from the True and Impossible Adventures of Tamru Morrow, a pulp series following the real-life exploits of an interplanar ship's captain. The real Captain Morrow is known never to have left her native Waterdeep and emerges from her rooms at the yawning portal only to exchange scrawled manuscripts for fresh meals and ink. And thus in the light of the Feywild's near setting sun, we passed into the land of the Eladrin. My astute resolution to sail around their forests was betrayed. It seems to me that the river itself conspired to change course, bringing the new bride into the shadow of the trees that I might see those dancing figures up close. The form of the Eladrin, with which I am now intimately familiar, is that of elves as seen in a fever dream, slender as swans and with their hair of every changeable hue. Their moods mirrored the fey wilderness from which they spring. One moment gentle as a still pond, the next inexorable and deadly as a falling mountain. The latter I experienced only after spending many agreeable hours, or perhaps seasons, among them. A halfling woman, employed among my crew as a smith, dared to raise her voice in song about that of our hosts. The depth of the insult became clear as the forest fell into silence, and it was only quick thinking on my part that delivered a compromise. When we left it was without our smith, and the only sound was the solitary ring of her hammer as she endeavored to forge a blade that would sing for the Eladrin more sweetly than she. It has been some centuries since. I hope she has succeeded by now. So I okay. Sent to camp. Okay. Bedroll. Ano siya pwedeng kunin? Okay lang kahit ano. Okay lang kahit na encumbered na. Bibenta naman natin lahat yan ngayon eh. Paglabas natin dito. Saan na yung isang set? Dito. Mga naiwan pa natin. Pork shoulder. Teka. Yung mga food lagay natin sa camp. Cold chicken? Napansin yun? Okay, wala na. Okay, balik na tayo kaya na. Benta na natin. Encumbered. At least ako lang may dalang items. Ay, meron pa tayong pwede tignan yung nasa labas. Pero mamaya na, teka, bibenta ko lang itong mga to. Mabigat na eh. Hindi tayo makakilos ng maayos eh. Okay, bibenta ko lang sa ito. Tapos check ko yung nasa palibot nitong grove. Ito, di ko pwede kunin yan. Nakatingin ka eh.
It'll take a while for us all to recover, but you've helped us take the first step. Of course.
Conch shell. Mag-iwan ako ng isang dagger. $169. Banishment, Ice Storm, Dimensional Door, kailangan ko, kaya lang di malalearn ng character ko eh. Rain Dancer. Ito na naman itong pasaway na to. Ayaw kainin ni Gale. Okay, wala tayong kailangang bilhin. Bigyan kita ng funds. Bigay ko sa'yo 46. There you go. Wala lang. Being friendly lang.
May you keep balance.
Okay. Yung mga nandito sa labas. Ito, alam natin wala na yan. Sa palibot naman. Tayo nandito. Ito. Wala bang tao? Okay, walang nakabantay. Yan lang. Shovel.
Looks empty.
Wala. Crossbow na naman. Kay Astarion ko binibigay yan kadalasan eh. Ay! Ito mga to, bibenta ko to. Task.
Freshly turned soil shifts beneath your feet as you approach the grave.
A grave. Covered dirt to be devoured by worms. A fitting end to a failed warrior. Look around cautiously. Then begin to dig.
Wits and blades always sharp.
Interviewin natin to.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Who are you?
Cannon.
What is your profession? What happened to you? Ah, where do you keep your valuables?
Couldn't take much in bedroll.
What happened to you?
Killed. Arrow. Can't breathe.
What were you doing when you were killed?
Guarding.
Ayan ba yun? Siya ba yun?
Have to open.
Who killed you? Mga goblins.
There were goblins. Aradin followed.
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
Can't give up now.
Ito, kailan natin to. Buti hindi nabubulok yun. Simple robe.
Don't waste a step.
Thank you. teka.
Attention!
Ano yan?
Lend an ear.
I thought you were housing.
The boar prances around, haunches clenching and unclenching impatiently.
Where's Halsin? Promise me a mate.
Never a dull moment.
Set to camp.
Cursed to put my hands on everything. How much farther can I go?
Okay, wala na. Benta natin yung mga yon. Tapos, sa natitira natin 18 minutes, balikan natin yung Zentarim yung hideout.
It'll take a while for us all to recover, but you've helped us take the first step. Of course.
So, 84. So, bigay ko sa iyo yung 34.
May you keep balance.
May nawalang item. Ay, yung Kala ko ano nawala eh. Kinabahan ako dun Okay. Sige, balik tayo sa Zentarim headquarters. Hideout pala. Wala ba silang iniwan dito? May tao pa rin dun 10. Ow! Critical fail. andito pa sila. Akala ko ba i-dispatcha nila tong base? It's okay, wala tayong magagawa dito na. Okay. Mabalik putan natin yung talagang ano natin dito. Goblin camp naman na. Yung susunod na area. Mga bangkay. Nakuha na natin lahat dito eh. Balik tayo sa ano, sa entrance sa ano ni God. Ganyan din. New area. New area, tapos marami pang pwede mga kulimbat if ever. Disorders of the nerves and mind. A treatise. Read. There came to me a woman whom I shall henceforth call R, greatly distraught at the unusual tempers of her husband, whom I shall henceforth call B. 3 months prior, he'd suffered night sweats, crying out from sleep that he bore the mark of chaos. 2 months prior, he'd taken to calling himself by the name Saravak. 1 month ago, he'd speak of little else but the throne for which he is destined. I attended to be at the couple's farmhouse. He sat calmly at the table, an unknown book clutched to his chest. I detected no curse nor loathsome spirit upon him, nor the presence of magic. Yet upon shining the light of candle flame upon him, he raised the book high and exclaimed, the deaths they bring shall awaken the Father, and through them he will rise. I snatched the book from his hand and flung it into the hearth, where it burned not in red or yellow flame, but pure black. It left but a single scrap, reading, He foresaw his coming death, and seeded his essence across the land. B shivered and sighed, as if waking from nightmare. He had no memory of the book, nor the words he had spoken. Diagnosis: unspecified neurotic enthrallment. Treatment: herbal tincture of garlic and trace, sipped thrice daily until exhaustion lifts. Okay. Okay. Sent to camp. Lessons for sensible living. 12. Zariel's fall. Okay, read. The foreword to this brief account of Zariel's fall captures the tone of the entire text. Greetings, sensible folk. Already, I can detect grumbling and the agitated rattle of pipe stem against teeth. A lesson dedicated to an Archduke of Avernus. A lesson dedicated to an Archduke of Avernus? Has Harrington taken leave of his senses? Quiet your complaints. I assure you I have not. It is true that cosmic occurrences are often insensible by their very nature, but the tale of Zariel strikes close to home. In her downfall, you will be reminded of those haughty do-gooding neighbors and acquaintances who rightfully arouse your suspicions. One moment they are suggesting you grow turnips rather than potatoes on that fallow patch, and the next they have their kitchen knife strapped to their belt and are suggesting you explore the abandoned crypt behind the Giles farm. Giles or Giles farm. In short, Zariel was a celestial being tasked with monitoring the ebb and flow of the Blood War, of which more in Volume 21, matters of little importance to sensible folk. Observing was not righteous enough for Zariel though, and she took it upon herself to become directly involved, like the oaf who sees two fellows fighting over a spilled tankard of ale, and rather than applauding their efforts, cracks their skulls together and causes a tavern-wide brawl. She invaded Avernus, was defeated and now rules there, corrupt and wicked. What can sensible folk learn from this foolish tale? It is obvious. Do not strive to correct what cannot be corrected. Look not to distant lands and conflicts, but to your fields, your family, and your friends. There is nothing but misery to be gained from interfering in the hardships of others. Harrington, Netherlands. Okay, send to camp. Okay, may 8 minutes pa tayo. Magbasa-basa pa tayo dito sa mga bookshelf. Ito ba isang bookshelf eh? Actually, dalawa to eh. Oral Histories of Faerun, Githyan Mind Flayers. Okay. This book comprises several chapters, one for each cited source. It claims to contain first-hand transcriptions of the oral histories of several storytellers throughout the realm. Chapter 4, Palador the Swift, 700 years of age, Wood Elf, storyteller hailing from the Wood of Sharp Teeth. It took me several 10 days of quiet habitation in the wood before the venerable Palador felt comfortable revealing his presence to me. The longer I stayed, demonstrating I was not threat to his health and peace, the more open he was to gentle inquiry. This tale relayed to me on a chilly morning as we stoked a small fire between us was like none I had heard before or since. I asked if it were fiction and he insisted emphatically it was as true as his own right eye. Long ago, before my eyes and ears, before your lonesome quill, dear scribe, there was an empire of people, or perhaps only belief, an empire of brain eaters, soul wasters. They called themselves Illithids, the flayers of minds. The children of Gith were bowed bent in service to the flayers, a passionate people made to serve a cold, cold belief. The flayers were untouchable, their minds a great oppressor. No proud will or passion could break Gith's children free. Until at last a reckoning, in source unknown, its power unproven, but its events history-making. The cloud would not be cracked. Gith's children fought back valiantly. Their freedom theirs, the flayers spent, and broken till today. Okay? Kwento ng mga mind flayers. Okay, send to camp. Okay, meron pa tayong 5 minutes. Okay, basa-basa muna tayo. Teka lang, anong title ng book na yan? Meron tayo yun, di ba? Kasi send lang natin doon sa steal na lang, benta ko na lang yan. An open letter on oppression and peacocks. Written in a furious sloping hand, this is a letter to the
Keep
editor.
your hands to yourself. You're being watched.
Nagulat naman ako dito. Meron pala ditong Asan yun? Asan yun? Binabasa ko lang. Written in a furious sloping hand, this is a letter to the editor of Baldur's Bash, a tabloid notorious for its controversial articles. Dear editor, I find it despicable, nay, diabolical that you would defend Baldur's Gate's ridiculous restrictions regarding animals in the city. No animal larger than a peacock may gain entry? How archaic! My darling Giselle is the most well-behaved bear you'll ever meet. And yet, to spend time with my child, I must visit my summer home in Cormier. I call upon the Parliament of Peers to resolve this issue immediately. The emotional and psychological well-being of the people of Baldur's Gate is at stake, and I shall take this to the highest authorities should it not be dealt with accordingly. Right now, Giselle cries out for her father. This archaic policy has separated a child from their parent. I don't know how Grand Duke Elder Ravengard lives with himself. Yours faithfully, Mr. R. Pickens. May copy na tayo niyan eh. Dali. Asan na yung... May nagpapantay pala rito. So anyway guys, tuloy na lang natin next episode. Atakihin natin to. May bantay pa pala rito eh. So, next episode na lang muna. So, save muna natin. Okay, save successful. Hindi natin matapos yung sync. Cloud syncing. Okay, tapos na. So, end natin for now. So, Keshan Velosa signing off guys. Tuloy na lang ulit natin to next episode.